V'zehu inyan Purim bichlal, and this is the concept of Purim in general. Dehine atam shenikra Purim, well Shem Pur, that the reason it's called Purim is because of the Pur, the lottery. V'apur hu agorel chulu. V'ha'inyan hu, and the concept is lefisha anuroim shekola yomim ha'elu. That all of these days we see Shayu Yisrael b'sakana mipnei gzeras Haman, that Yisrael was in danger because of the decree of Haman. Shenim shachazman kimat meshech shana, that the time of the decree was about a year. Hayukulam bibichinas mesirus nefesh mamash, all of them, all of Israel, were in a state of self-sacrifice, truly, b'chol yom b'chol esu b'chol shah, every hour and time and moment. Ki b'chol shah hayu muchanim limsor nafshim lahariga, because at every moment they were prepared to give up their life to be killed, v'lo la'avur das chas v'sholem, and not to give up their religion, God forbid. V'lo alal shum echad mihem machshavas chutz chas v'sholem, and did not come up into one of their minds a foreign thought, God forbid. V'zeh ha'inyan haya etzlem bevadai lamayla mehatam v'das, and this concept was by them something beyond reason or explanation. Because the main concept of self-sacrifice is when it's not something that's reasonable and explainable. Rashi calls it b'sefer hayira, and it says on the bottom b'sefer hayira in the way in the Torah or as girsa. The av al pi tam v'seichel nikra mesirus nefesh, that love that's in accordance with the understanding and reason is called self-sacrifice. Ze'eno, this is not so. Because self-sacrifice is beyond reason and intellect. Specifically, and even though somebody who gives up their life for the sake of Hashem's holy name in actuality, if their intention is to achieve some kind of thing, for example, they want to receive some reward for that and the like, that's not true self-sacrifice. Because this, that he's giving up his life, they're getting some kind of great reward in this, that they receive a reward, a payment for it. And this would be comparable to someone who gives up their life to get a great treasure and a lot of money, like the joke that somebody remained dead for a year for tax purposes, or to become a great ruler and the like. Even though you're giving up your life in truth, but in service of Hashem, you can't have this as a true self-sacrifice. And because this is only to achieve some kind of more precious and honorific thing. And if so, that's what already was. Already sunk into the natural desires. Meaning to say, this self-sacrifice then is not leaving them behind. Only that you're achieving a greater desire, a greater, more precious one. But the true concept of self-sacrifice is not to achieve or reach any desire and will other than to Hashem alone. Like it's written, who do I have in the heavens, and I do not desire on the earth? And this is only achievable through something that's beyond intellect and reason. And this is the concept of Purim, that's called this because because the poor is the lottery. That's the idea of the lottery. That just like by the lottery that you throw down lotteries. However the lottery falls out, that's how it will be. That the person is dependent upon their will, is not their own will, but dependent upon how the lottery falls out. That however it falls out, whether it's yes or no, that's how their will be. If so, they're depending their will on the source of will, which is called a simple will. You need to say beyond explanation. That they're not deciding it, but it's coming out from a higher place. That the gorel represents this source of will. B'Zohar nikra raiva dekol raivin. In Zohar it's called the desire of all desires, or the will to will. That's beyond a revealed state of will. Yom Kippurim kemo Purim goralos. And in parentheses, that Yom Kippurim is like Purim in the lotteries, and that's why it's drawn down then from the desire of all desires as well. This is the concept of Purim that's also higher than the day of Yom Kippur. That Yom Kippurim is called like Purim, that is to say, similar to Purim. Only with a kaf at the beginning of the word that implies it's similar but not the same thing alone. Not actually like Purim. But the kaf hadimyon means it's comparable to Purim but not actually like it. This itself implies that Purim is higher than Yom Kippur. And the concept is that even though on Yom Kippur you have these lotteries with Bebeis HaSeirim, with the two goats, Lifnei Havayachul, in front of Hashem, that this is also dependent upon the simple will. It's the source for all will. But it was still also dependent on how people did tshuva. That it does not atone unless you have also done tshuva as well. And it says on the Shulei Gilai on the bottom, Yom Kippurim, Yom Kippurim Einu Mechaper Biltim Tzosa Tshuva Davka. That Yom Kippurim only atones through tshuva. Even though we're talking about a high tshuva, the supernal tshuva, which is the concept of self-sacrifice, just like by Purim. Nonetheless, but if you do not do this, Yom Kippurim will not atone, as is known. Although there's the machlokes in the Gemara about whether it's Itzumo Shel Yom or Mechapel Shavim V'lo She'enom Shavim and so forth. Ach Bechinas Purim, but the concept of Purim, Yesh B'Yisron Maila, has a greater thing, Mash'ein Kim Yom Kippurim, that Yom Kippurim does not have. And this is the concept of this self-sacrifice they had that was beyond all explanation and reason. That is without any desire and will other than for Hashem alone. And that's why it says that they call these days Purim. And their days are not like Yom Kippur. fasting, but of rejoicing and feasting. Shem iskalus oros bekelim davka. That's the revelation of lights within vessels specifically. Because through the joy you have the revelation of the light. And in the time to come, it says you'll come with crying. Because the light will not be contained in the vessel. So on Purim you have the lights in the vessels. Therefore it says we will come with crying and tears. So these lights usually you cannot contain them in vessels. But on Purim they got to such a high level, which is the true self-sacrifice, to be attached to the essence of the infinite light, in order so that it would be able to be contained in a vessel. It won't just be tears, but you can contain it in a vessel of rejoicing and feasting. Even in such lights that the vessel should not be able to normally contain the light, only in accordance with the gradative process of that from lights to vessels, that where it properly fits within the vessel. Because these lights are much far beyond the orderly process of gradative creation in a gradative way. Therefore they're called days of feasting and rejoicing. Because the wine goes in and the secret comes out. And specifically this revelation is within vessels. And this is the concept of love of pleasures. That's beyond the world of Atzilus. Because in Atzilus the vessel cannot handle such a light. But since Haman wanted to also receive from the essence of the infinite light, this is what's called the desire of all desires, and the hidden of all hiddens. He wanted to get that too. Therefore he did everything exactly opposite of the holiness truly. And that is in that he threw down the lots, which is the lottery. That is to say, that the depth of the bad, that's also not in accordance with intellect. And this is in the parentheses, and it says on the bottom, instead of Ratzulomar, it's possible to say that this is the Omikra. And back inside, look what it says in the Maamar, that all the nations praise Hashem. Lifnei Haman, that he threw the lottery in front of Haman. Why does it say in front of Haman? Because he elevated himself with extra haughtiness and exaltedness, just like it says by the ministering angel of Esav, that Haman came from Amalek, from Esav as well. If you lift yourself up like an eagle, Ovadia says about Esav, I will bring you down. So this haughtiness is the same midah ve'inyan hagbazos hugam kein l'mayla mehadas v'aseichel, and this is the concept of this elevation is also beyond understanding and intellect, v'gam l'mayla mehadatz, and also beyond will. V'zeu she'ipil gam kein goralo salei yom, and that's why he threw down lots as to which day she'ipil kach yehiyah, that however it lands, that's how what it would be. V'hapalas agor lifnei Haman hainu. And throwing down the lots in front of Haman, that he threw them down in order so that his will would be dependent upon the lottery. Just in the likeness of throwing down the lots by the two goats on Yom Kippur in front of Hashem. So to here, lahavdil, it says lifnei Haman. It's because just on Yom Kippur, it's in front of Hashem, meaning exalted to the high place. So to here was lifnei Haman. He wanted to get to the exalted place. And all of this is because he wanted to lift himself up and compare himself to the supernal holiness in order to also receive from there. However, Hashem turned his bad thoughts that he thought about the Jews upon his own head, and they hung him and his sons. So he got hung on that high place instead of being lifted up there to a positive place, but he got lifted up and hung, and that was his downfall. From there I will bring you down. Therefore they call these days Purim because of this gorel, because of this lottery. Because it's higher than Yom Kippur. And afterwards they accepted and received upon them, and until it says that these days of Purim will not go away from the Jews. Because it remains this residue or a seal. Remember, we brought before the concept of the seal of the king from this glimmer, that's forever, that could never go away. Like our sages said, that all the holidays will be nullified. Because all of the holidays are concepts of lights within vessels, but that those lights within vessels are in accordance with the regular gradative process of lights and vessels and shining into each other and through the worlds of Atzilus B'riyah Tziyosiyah. But if you have this light beyond Atzilus, the vessel will not be able to handle it and will become nullified. Which is not the case with these days of Purim, that these lights will be within vessels. I guess that's why also in the days of Mashiach, when it says Bebech Yavo, in Purim will not be nullified, because instead of it won't even be Bebechi then. It'll also still be, those lights will still be in vessels. Which is not the case with Purim, which are days of feasting and rejoicing. In them, the light will go in a vessel, even with that light that's beyond all of the gradative process of creation. Like we said before, the reason, therefore, the days of Purim will not go away forever, even in the time to come. And the remembrance will never go away from their children. Because there remains a residue from this revelation of this lottery. So in Meoreor it says the gorel, the lottery is called the feminine. So the lottery is the gematria of Rachel if you add the kola. When the two goralos to Hashem and to Azazel on Yom Kippur are the feminine of holiness and the feminine of Klippa. Kaf of Goral, gematria Beis Pamim Kuf Kaf Tzirfi Elokim, and Kaf Vav and Goral is the gematria of 2 times 120 combinations of the name Elokim Ad Kan Lashono. That's the end of the quote. I guess there's in the Maamar on Yisro, he says Mikol Elokim, Ki Gadol Havai Mikol Elokim. It brings there that Mikol Elokim are the 2 times Kaf Kuf Tzirufi Elokim of Kedusha and of Klippa. So you have 1 Elokim of Kedusha, 1 Elokim of Klippa. But Hashem Havai is beyond both. So here also you have the two goralos, the kedusha and the of nukva of kedusha and nukva of klippa, and that's according to the Meorior. V'amalek gematria beis pamim kuf kaf anal, and Amalek is also 2 times 120. That's what Yisro also heard. He heard Milchemas Amalek, because Amalek is also 2 times that. I'm not sure what that is. The Meorior says about Memresh, Bos ein Yom Tov be'inyan Amalek Baruch Erech Chalosh. And if you look in Meorior about Amalek as well, and in the Aruch, if you look in the word Chalosh, I guess it brings something similar. Not sure what. Shabbos Kuf Mem Tes, Gemara Shabbos, Beishis Rabba Parsha Chav Gimel Vayishlach Parsha Ein Vav. Look in these sources. I know the Matzina Gemara that we find in the Gemara Al Pasuk Kilo Yanuach Shevet Harashal Gorel Tzadikim, that the staff of the wicked will not rest upon the Goral, the lottery of the righteous. Shamru Razal just said, "Ein mizavgin lo ish la adam ela lefi maisav," that a person is only given a wife in accordance with their deeds. Because found then that a woman is called a lottery. So this concept of the staff of the wicked upon the portion of the lottery of the righteous could be their wife. Because it's the concept of nukva. We said it's the concept of the feminine. What lottery will you get? Now it's interesting. It says according to the deeds. Here we're saying that it's beyond intellect. At any rate, Ki Amar Razal said B'Shir Hashirim Rabbah al Pasuk Simini Kechosam Chulu, that it says in Shir Hashirim Rabbah on the verse place me as a seal Ki Azakamavis Ava, that love is as strong as death. Ava Shoev Ishli Ishto, that a man loves his wife. Like it says, because it says see life with the woman that you love, and I suppose the opposite of that would be death, and therefore it says that love is as strong as death. Further, our sages said, on the verse, I am to my beloved, and my desire is upon him. That the desire of a wife is only for her husband. And that's why this lottery is also called love that's beyond intellect, just like the wife. Because it's bechinas nukva, and it's also beyond intellect, and that's how you connect the concept of the lottery being the feminine concept, as well as being beyond intellect of love. And this is also the meaning of the verse, that if you find a wife, you found good. It's known that the concept is, it says that you found it, that something that you find is something beyond intellect, beyond knowledge, which is also why it says the wisdom you will find from naught. And by Avram it says, and you found his heart trustworthy, also that because Avraham drew down from this level of the ayin. Now in Medrash Rabba Naso it says that the man will bring his wife. Ha'ish ze HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That the man here refers allegorically to the Holy One, blessed be He, Ishto zeh knesses Yisrael, and his wife is the souls of Israel, like it's written, V'haya bayomahu, that it will be on that day, Tikri ili ishi v'gomer, you will call me my husband. Nimtzazeu gam kin b'chinas gorol, so it's found then that the relationship between the souls of Israel and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is also called the lottery, because we have a love, you have this love that's beyond reason in our relationship to Hashem, and that's also called the lottery. Hainu mash Yisrael alu b'machshava, and this is that Yisrael came up in God's thought beyond reason, on the level that's beyond wisdom, like it says, when the supernal inherited nations, Yaakov Chevel Nachal also, and Yaakov is the portion of his inheritance. And I guess the concept is Behanchil Elyon implies the supernal inheritance, I guess, that's beyond wisdom. Because who's to say inheritance is beyond wisdom? Maybe it could be below wisdom. But at any rate, he says Yaakov is his portion. Targum Onkelos and Onkelos translates Adav Achsante. So what does it mean Adav Achsante? That Vuhunyan Goral. That's the, what does it mean Chevel Nachal? So Chevel, he says, is the lottery of his inheritance. So the fact that we inherit is like a lottery, like as if Hashem would have a lottery of which nation would inherit him, and we were the ones. The Targum Goral Echad Lehavaya, that by Yom Kippur, when it brings the lottery, that's how it translates it as well. One Goral for Hashem, Adva Chad Lehavaya, that you have one Adva for Hashem, which is the same language used for Chevel Nachal also. Adav Achsante. The Chevel, the rope, actually means the Adva, the Goral. The Goral, that's how Onkelos translates it. So Hashem choosing us is also beyond the intellect. And this is also the concept of you will be for me a treasure, just like the concept of a segula. You do some specific action, and it has some kind of effect on something that you would never imagine it has an effect on. That's not in accordance with intellect and reason. So it's similar to the Gora. Like it says in the Maamar that your cheeks are beautiful with their earrings. In Chevel ala Goral, that so it says there that the Chevel is a lottery. So it says that pleasant ropes have fallen upon me. The Chevel meaning not ropes but lotteries. Don't translate it as Chevel as a rope. Translate it as the pleasant lotteries have fallen to me. And it does bring it, and actually compares the lottery to a rope, where it says just like a rope is made out of 3 strands and the like. And I guess maybe it compares it to Avram Yitzchak. Yaakov is the one that completes the 3 strands or whatever. Then it's truly strong, or whoever it is that explains it there in the Sifri. Look over there. How do we know that also Yaakov chose HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Look what it says in Tanya, in the letter of Ashreinu, and how pleasant is our Goral. That there it says that it's not in a way of understanding that we of reasoning and so forth. Yaakov bachar Eloka, because Yaakov chose Hashem. V'imhurak al pi Goral, eno inyan bechira. And if it's only as a lottery, It's not a choice. So Yaakov chose him. But why is it a choice if it's also a lottery? Because this choice is not in accordance with reason. Because it's not with clearly understood wisdom and intellect. But hidden wisdom. That's why it's called the lottery. And therefore we call the Hashem Segula, a nation of a treasure that's not, or an action that causes another that's not explainable according to reason. That we're Hashem's Segula, so to speak, Hashem's beyond intellect thing. That's why it says that love is as strong as death. This love that the Holy One, blessed be He, loves Israel, is to this degree beyond intellect. Just like Mesiras Nefesh, to give up your life. It's a similar idea. Now there's also, on the other side, like by Haman, you have a lottery. Like it says from Shlomo HaMelech, you should, when bad people say to each other, you should come and join forces with us to steal or whatever. We'll have one shared a bounty from the sin. Yesod denukva. What's this kis echad? What's this pocket that we'll have? That's the feminine yesod. Gamkin omikra, the depth of bad, which, like we said, is the goral. Shalamati min haseichel, it's below intellect. Shein haseichel moilo, that intellect will not help it. Al derech avad v'shana hutralo, like the statement that if a person does an avera and he does it again, it appears to them as if it's permissible, meaning to say that it's below their intellect completely, that the intellect will no longer help. You can't tell them it's forbidden because it appears to them as permissible. And this is the very concept of Amalek, that they know their creator and they still intend to rebel. For the klipa, and this is the concept of the feminine concept of klipa, yosedas al hakaved, the extra portion upon the liver, the extra fats upon the liver. We know the inyan kavad lev kaved, and it's known the concept of the liver. Shuinyan kavad lev paro. It's the heaviness of the heart of paro, that his heart became like a liver full of blood. That the heart and the liver, in terms of the blood that they have, are equal limbs of blood. It's just that the heart pumps it and is pure, whereas the kaved is full of the blood that needs to be purified. The heart pumps and the kaved is so to speak heavy. Paro b'mechin is lev nase kaved, that from Paro's heart becomes a liver. V'yoseres od alav chalu, and this is even further. The Yosef's Allah kaved is even further upon it, even a level beyond that, is the concept of this heaviness of the heart, unreasonable rejection of God that Paro had. This is even further. Amalek was even worse. Now in another place it's explained that just like you have 13 decorations of the beard, which are the 13 attributes that are beyond intellect and holiness, can also you have on the other side these types of attributes which are below intellect. In the Maamar that he mentioned before about praise, all nations should praise Hashem. And this is the concept of Haman, Gasus, which is coarseness, nasos, Ganesher, that their will was to be exalted like an eagle, a kabeo, to receive